All right, today we're diving into one of the world's greatest cities, London.
So, have you ever wondered how a city can feel ancient and brand new all at once? I mean, like it's from a history book and a sci-fi movie at the exact same time? Well, that's the puzzle of London, and today we're going to piece it all together.
Okay, to really get London, you have to go way back. And I mean way back, nearly 2,000 years ago. Let's start right at the beginning.
So, picture this. The year is around 43 AD. The Roman Empire is stretching its reach, and they arrive in Britain. They find this great spot on the River Thames, set up a settlement, and call it Londinium. And just like that, London is born.
You know, that original Roman town was actually pretty small, only about 1 square mile. And we still call that area the square mile today. The crazy part? This ancient heart of the city is now its main financial district. You can literally be walking down the street and see ancient Roman walls tucked right between these huge modern skyscrapers. It's wild.
Now, two huge events really shaped early London. First, of course, was its Roman founding. But then, way later, in 1666, something catastrophic happened. The Great Fire of London. It tore through the city, which was mostly built of wood back then. But out of that disaster, a whole new London rose up, rebuilt with stone to be tougher and more fireproof.
And through all that history, what's the one thing that's always been there? The River Thames. Seriously, this wasn't just a river. It was London's first highway. Everything grew up around it. Ships brought goods from all over the world, turning London into this absolute powerhouse of trade.
So with all that history, you just know there are going to be some incredible landmarks, right? And so many of them are connected to Britain's famous royal family.
Okay, here's a great piece of London trivia for you. When you hear Big Ben, what do you picture? Probably the giant clock tower, right? Well, plot twist. Big Ben is actually the nickname for the massive bell inside the tower. That famous bong you hear across the city? That's Big Ben.
And wow, the city is just packed with other famous spots. You've got Westminster Abbey, where kings and queens have been crowned since way back in 1066. Then there's Tower Bridge, you know, the one that opens up in the middle for big ships. And you can't miss the modern stuff, like the London Eye, which gives you these insane views from over 400 feet up. And, of course, there's St. Paul's Cathedral, with that huge, iconic dome that's been part of the skyline for centuries. Each one tells a different part of London's story.
And speaking of royalty, you can't forget Buckingham Palace. It's the monarch's official home base in London. Here's a cool little secret. If you're ever there, check out the flagpole. If you see the special Royal Standard flag flying, not the regular Union Jack, that means the king or queen is actually home at that very moment.
And here's a perfect example of how London changes over time. The Tower of London. It started out as a royal palace, even a fortress. Then it became this infamous prison. But today, it's a huge historical site, and, get this, it's the super secure home for the priceless crown jewels.
Okay, so we've talked about the old stones and the famous buildings, but what about the vibe of the city? What makes London feel so alive? Let's dive into the unique culture that makes this place tick.
Okay, get ready for this number because it's pretty mind-blowing. Over 300. That's how many different languages are spoken in London. 300. It makes it one of the most multicultural places on the entire planet.
Yeah, this quote really says it all, doesn't it? A place where history meets a modern global community every single day. And you can see that diversity everywhere. From the amazing food and music at the Notting Hill Carnival, which celebrates Caribbean culture, to the bright lanterns lighting up Chinatown. It's exactly that, ancient history and a modern global community, all living side by side.
All right, for a city famous for, being a city, this is going to surprise you. Almost half of London, we're talking 47%, is green space. That's an incredible amount of parks and gardens. People often call these parks the lungs of the city. And it makes sense, right? They provide fresh air and a place for everyone to just chill out. You've got Hyde Park with its huge lake for boating, Regent's Park, which is home to the London Zoo, and St. James's Park, which is famous for its pelicans. Yep, you heard that right. Pelicans, just hanging out in the middle of London.
So you've got millions of people in this massive city. How in the world does everyone get around every day?
Well, the answer is a huge, really complex transport network. First up, there's the London Underground, which everyone calls the Tube. And a cool fact about it, it was the world's very first underground railway, built back in 1863. Then you have those iconic red double-decker buses everywhere. And of course, the traditional black cabs. To drive one, you have to pass this insanely hard test called the Knowledge, where you have to memorize thousands of streets by heart.
All right, for our last section, let's zoom out a bit and look at how this one city actually has an impact on the entire world.
London's global impact is just massive. For one, it's a huge center for global finance. It's home to the Bank of England and the London Stock Exchange. On top of that, its top-tier universities pull in students from all over the globe, making it a hub for education. And it's a major player in sports, hosting legendary events like Wimbledon.
And this really shows how all those pieces fit together. The city's economy is obviously driven by huge industries like finance, but it's also powered by the millions of students and tourists who pour in every single year to study, to visit, and to be a part of it all.
So you have a city that's been 2,000 years in the making, a place that never ever stands still. It's constantly mixing its deep, deep history with a super fast-paced future. And after 2 millennia of change, you have to wonder, what's the next chapter for London going to be?